I actually think an underrated, just kind of to counter the question you asked, I think Trey Hendrickson being out there and playing so much is a really good sign. I coming off the injuries last year, I didn't know if he would be, ready to go at this point in the offseason. And it seems like he's full go, hasn't really missed much. So I thought that was actually a very positive sign just for a guy who's out there.
And I know the thing that impressed me most about that, Cole, is, he said in his intro press conference after he signed, look, I'm just looking forward to getting out there on the grass and being with teammates and putting in the work. And I know that got a lot of snickers from Cincinnati, given he's missed a lot of time and a lot of practices for whether it was the hip or contract or whatever. So I know that comment about being out there and practicing and all that was, I know I at least on my timeline, prompted some responses. So he's been out there and looking good. You always see him talking to teammates. Yesterday, him and Lamar were talking for a bit. I think in answering my own...
Trey Hendrickson just shut every single one of his critics up. And he did it without saying a word. The man that Cincinnati fans spent all offseason clowning. The guy whose press conference comments about getting out on the grass with teammates got laughed at across the internet. He is out at Ravens OTAs, full go, not missing a thing, and the people paying closest attention are saying this looks like a completely different version of the player who battled through injuries last season. But before we get into that, you need to hear what was spotted on the practice field that tells you everything about where Hendrickson's head is at right now. And the linebacker depth situation that everyone is worried about? There is a name flying under the radar that could solve that problem, and we'll get into why the Ravens have done this before and why it works. Plus, is this defense actually in position to challenge the best pass rush units in the NFL? We've got a real answer to that question, and it might surprise you. Let's go. Here is the context you need to fully appreciate what is happening right now. Trey Hendrickson spent years in Cincinnati as one of the most productive pass rushers in the entire league. Elite production, elite ability, but the relationship with the Bengals got messy. Missed practices over contract disputes. Hip injuries that cost him time. A complicated exit that left a bad taste on both sides. So when he signed with Baltimore and stepped to the microphone and said, sincerely, that he was just excited to get out on the grass and work with his new teammates, the reaction was predictable. Bengals fans laughed. NFL Twitter laughed. Screenshots got passed around. The general consensus was, sure, buddy. We've heard that before. And now, he's at every participating, engaged, not managing his reps, not sitting out, not protecting his body from optional work in June. He's out there. But here's what nobody is talking about loudly enough. He was seen having an extended conversation with Lamar Jackson on the practice field. Think about what that means. Lamar Jackson does not waste time building chemistry with guys who aren't locked in. He is not the type to just casually chop it up with someone who is going through the motions. When Lamar is talking to you, it is because you are already bought in and he knows it. That kind of connection, established in June during voluntary work, is exactly the kind of thing that turns into big plays in October. And it gets better. This is not just about Hendrickson showing up and looking healthy. The bigger story is what it means for this Ravens pass rush as a complete unit. And once you see the full picture, you will understand why opposing offensive coordinators should be losing sleep right now.
I think they're always looking. They're always looking for the chance if there's upgrades out there. Haven't I read that Miami's really trying hard to extend Jordan Brooks? And I think Henley's kind of a key piece of the defense out there. So, and I know you're just throwing out names, as you said. I don't know. I think if the Ravens make a deal, it's going to be for a center. And I don't see the Ravens making multiple deals. I could see them bringing in a veteran free agent at a spot and maybe making a trade. But every year, I think they go in with the plan they're going to add at the deadline, and they'll need a draft pick or two to do that. And I think they're going to need a draft pick or two to get their center. So I don't really see any other side deals, but who knows? I just don't think that position is a concern.
Here is what this Ravens defensive front looks like when you zoom out. Because the people focused only on Hendrickson are missing half the story. You have Hendrickson, fresh off a move from a franchise he outgrew, with something massive to prove in a new city. You have Nnamdi Madubuike, the interior disruptor who was a force before his neck injury, grinding his way back at the facility right now and trending in the right direction according to his own head coach. And then you have Mike Green, who is on this roster specifically because he has freakish pass rush ability and a chip on his shoulder the size of the Chesapeake Bay. That is 3 different kinds of problems for an offensive line to solve simultaneously. Hendrickson coming off the edge forces the tackle to account for him on every rep. When Madibike is healthy and collapsing the interior pocket, the quarterback has nowhere to step up. And Green is the wild card. The guy defenses have not fully solved yet, who shows up on film doing things that make scouts stop the tape and rewind. The question of whether this Ravens pass rush can challenge the Texans, who right now have the best defensive line in the AFC on paper, is one that deserves a real answer. And that answer is, not yet, but give it 4 months. Because the version of this unit that takes the field in September, if Madibike is healthy, is genuinely elite. Not close to elite. Not top 10. Elite. Now let's talk about the one thing that is still legitimately unsettled on this defense. The linebacker room. Roquan Smith is the anchor. That is not a debate. But the question of who lines up beside him going into camp is real. Teddy Buchanan, who is reportedly far ahead of schedule in his knee recovery, is the most exciting candidate, but he is not confirmed yet. Trent Simpson is a name. Jay Higgins earned his spot last year as an undrafted free agent through sheer effort in the preseason. And there are other names being floated, including the possibility of a trade or a post-cut veteran pickup. Here is what the history tells you though. The Ravens have quietly solved the linebacker depth problem with undrafted players multiple times in recent years. Jay Higgins last season. Kean Martin before that. Ruben Lowry before that. This organization has a system for identifying late-round and undrafted linebackers who can contribute on special teams and earn snaps on defense. They have done it consistently enough that you almost have to trust the process. And if the Ravens do decide to make a trade for additional linebacker help, which the beats are suggesting is more likely to happen at the deadline than right now, they have the draft capital to make that move. The center position is reportedly the higher priority right now, which makes sense when you think about protecting Lamar. If you are a Ravens fan watching this, here is what you actually need to take away from this offseason so far. The stars are aligning. Not perfectly, there are still question marks. But Hendrickson being fully healthy and fully bought in is a massive, underrated development. Every OTA appearance, every conversation with Lamar, every rep he takes in June is a building block toward what this pass rush becomes in the fall. He left Cincinnati under a cloud. He came to Baltimore with a point to prove. And right now, he is proving it quietly every single day on a practice field that nobody is paying enough attention to. That is exactly the kind of motivation that turns into double-digit sack seasons. My prediction? Trey Hendrickson has the best individual season of his career in a Ravens uniform in 2026. The scheme fits him, the teammates around him elevate his production, and that conversation with Lamar on the practice field is the first chapter of something Ravens fans are going to be talking about for a long time. And when this defense takes the field in Week 1 with Hendrickson coming off the edge and Madibike potentially healthy in the interior, I genuinely feel bad for whatever quarterback is on the other side of that line of scrimmage. Now I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Trey Hendrickson has a monster season in Baltimore, or is the skepticism from his Cincinnati days still warranted? Let's talk about it. If you want to stay locked in as this story develops through training camp and into the season, hit that subscribe button. We are not sleeping on this. This is Ravens Report. We'll see you in the next one.